Hey family, welcome to Family People. I'm Raymond, and this is everything Marvel United Multiverse, the absolute all-in pledge with all the extras. Let's get unboxing. Hey family, welcome to Family Meeple. I'm Raymond, and this is, I believe, the last of the main boxes, short of the stretch goals, of the Marvel United Multiverse Season 3, all in. So let's get down to the table and have a look at this. This was probably, I think, maybe short of Galactus, probably the main box I was most excited about, having played the Sinister Six from the original Marvel United Season 1. This effectively adds to that. It gives you a similar experience for Marvel United Season 3, but actually adds to and mixes up what we got in that original box set. So, Maximum Carnage. Very excited for this. Escaping from prison, Carnage partnered with Shriek, and couple started a twisted sort of family, bringing in Doppelganger and Demogoblin under Carnage's symbiotic wings. Joined by other dark villains like Morbius, the living vampire, these new Sinister Six pose a unified threat that will test the hero's resolve to the limit. Spreading his infection around the symbiote, he's hell-bent on bringing maximum carnage to the world. There you go. What else needs be said? I am very excited for this. As alluded to there, this is going to be a similar experience to what we saw in the Sinister Six, or return of the Sinister Six box from Season 1. Personally, I really enjoyed seeing the Carnage or Venom on the big screen. Really looking forward to episode 3 of that saga, if you like. And we'll get to see more of course, Venom's family. Let's have a look. Welcome to the Carnage. So let's see what we get. We have a Carnage die. So we've got a challenge card, the Carnage Challenge. 16 new Sinister Six Master Plan cards. 16 Weak Spot cards. The new Sinister Six Dashboard. Hero cards. Master Plan Villain cards. So we can play Morbius as a hero. Threat cards, we obviously get all our wonderful minis as well. And some Sinister Six assembled master plan cards as well. So I'm guessing that is the ability then to mix up what we've got. So you get 22 Sinister Six assembled villain modules and a Sinister Six assembled centerpiece. So this is what then gives us that variability that everyone absolutely loves in board games, of course. So we've got the Carnage Challenge as a separate entity, as well as, of course, the Sinister Six mode, where you'll be taking on 6 villains in a single game. And you can, of course, then mix up with the Sinister Six assembled, so you get to then mix and match a number of those villains, and you've got then a Sinister Six assembled deck to randomize in what order those members are activating and fighting against the heroes. So let's have a look at the new Sinister Six. Yes, no longer return. These are the new Sinister Six. So we've got Doppelganger, Scream, Shriek, Demogoblin, Scorpion, and Morbius, each with their own particular ban entities, different amounts of health, varying upon the number of heroes that you'll be playing against. So yes, very excited to see this in action. Oh, that wonderful green coming back into play with Shriek and Scorpion. Thanks for that. So overflow tokens can't be added to a location during master plan card and add it face down to the storyline. And special rules: when a hero is KO'd, no BAM effect is activated. Instead, add one master plan card face down to the storyline. Heroes starting their turn with any crisis tokens must be either forfeit one available action on their turn or take 1 damage at the end of their turn. Then discard all their crisis tokens. Give you a glimpse into how that works. And then, oh, okay, we've got a number of, excellent, number of mix and match modules that came and became unlocked during the Kickstarter. So again, really excited to see these. So we can use a Spot as part of the assemble, as well as obviously Carnage himself and Rhino as well. And then rotating around, we have Morlan, obviously came in that separate core box for Season 3 Multiverse. And as you would expect, the Green Goblin to accompany the Demogoblin. In addition to those, then we have Shriek, who we've seen. So the main characters from this box, Scream, and of course Morbius, the Demogoblin, the Doppelganger, and Scorpion will mostly disappear there. Okay. I did show you that we've got some nice graphics for what you can see on the flip side when there isn't tons of green in there. So of course the original Sinister Six, so Dr. Octopus, Electro and Craven. That film is due to be out imminently. Mysterio, Vulture and Sandman. I particularly liked the rendition of Vulture. I thought that came out really well, and Mysterio in fact. And then we have, in addition to that, Chameleon. We have the Hobgoblin. We have Shocker and Lizard. And then of course we've got the centre piece, as well as then various BAM and KO tokens as well. So lots of goodness in this box. Take out the villains. So let's have a look at the locations that we gain with this particular expansion. So we have the Statue of Liberty. At the end of each villain turn, heroes may add a civilian to this location, so that's always available. At the end of turn, you may relocate any number of civilians from this location to other locations if you do gain a move token for each civilian you relocate. Of course, there's only 3 slots there, so got to be careful with that one. We have Fisk Tower. At the end of the turn, you may discard 1 card and add a thug to a different location with an empty slot to gain a wild token. So it's lots of putting out additional tokens, which can sometimes certainly be a struggle depending on the cards that you're drawing with the villains. We have Hell's Kitchen. Yes! If a hero in this location defeats more than 1 thug during their turn, they take 1 damage. Ooh, harsh. End of your turn, you may add 2 thugs to this location to gain a attack token. And Bishop Publishing. If a hero this location rescues more than 1 civilian in their turn, they take 1 damage. And the editor may add 2 civilians to this location to gain 1 heroic feat token. There we go. So we've got our mix of locations. Let us prepare our cards, and we can dig into our villains. I say our villains, but of course these are all villains bar Morpheus, who can be played as a hero as well as a villain. Personally, I really enjoyed the portrayal of Morpheus, not in the films or on the big screen. I confess I was disappointed. It just didn't seem to go anywhere. And I don't know what that was about. I don't know whether it was just because there was a disconnect with the whole Spider-Verse. Hopefully I did hear a rumour that Sony are effectively rebooting their rendition of the Spider-Verse and will be moving forward much more collaboratively with Marvel. That is definitely my hope. I think Marvel are doing an outstanding job in the cinematic universe, albeit they've obviously had some issues with some of the more recent films and the whole Kang saga that occurred. It's gutting, but it is what it is, right? So yeah, moving forward, I am always hopeful that we will see that stuff turn around dramatically and yeah, be blessed with phenomenal goodness moving forwards. Oh, interesting. We've got a whole bunch of single shot cards. Okay, very interesting. I look forward to digging into those. Then we're into our villains themselves, and Eradication as an extra card there for Scream, was it? Yep, Scream. Let's have a look what else we've got. Of course, Morbius as a hero and a challenge, the Carnage challenge as well. We've got Morbius as a villain, as well as then Shriek as a villain and the start of their master plan deck. We have the master plan for Scorpion and Doppelganger. Oh, interesting. Doppelganger and Demogoblin together. Very interesting. Okay, didn't see that coming. I am intrigued. Okay, so lots of goodness to get through, as well as obviously the fantastic sculpts and miniatures accompanying these. Let us unsleeve the villain cards. We can have a look at what these look like as individuals, because of course for the other thing that makes this outstanding value as a box is you get each and every one of these villains, as you see, to play individually against, as well as then the whole Sinister 6 challenge, which now you can also combine and mix up with the original Sinister 6 as well, which is just phenomenal. Love it. So we've got Dark Carnage, we have Morbius, we have Shriek, we have Scream, Scorpion, and Demogoblin and Doppelganger. Really interested to see what that one brings. Okay, so let's start with where to start, eh, folks? Should we start with the Doppelganger challenge? So it begins with its own little card. So let's have a look at what this says. Set up, place the Carnage dashboard, challenge side up next to the play area with the appropriate number of health tokens on it. Place Dark Carnage in the first counterclockwise location next to the villains and infection, and one infection token below the leftmost thug or civilian in each location. Follow the rules described on the Carnage dashboard, and after the first villain turn, keep this card on top of the master plan deck as a reminder of Carnage's activation. Okay, so that gets situated on top of there. So let's have a look at his rules. Okay, so he's got, so we have the Carnage, the Dark Carnage and the Carnage challenge. Interesting. Okay, I'm confused. What am I looking at? I have no idea. Okay, Carnage challenge then. Let's have a look at this. So 3, 4, 5 life respectively depending on the number of players. Special rules, Dark Carnage is vulnerable for the start of the game. Ooh. Yet, as long as there are any infected civilians and thugs on the board, heroes cannot attack or defeat him by any means. While there are no infection tokens on the board, heroes can attack him. Very interesting. If the villain has been defeated but Dark Carnage is still in play, remove all the defeated villains' game components and pieces and flip his dashboard to its Dark Carnage side, replacing the defeated villain's dashboard. So hence we have the flip side of this. Okay. Carnage's plot. The heroes lose if an infection token must be placed, but there are none available. Okay. And Carnage activation. Oh my gosh, what a lot of text. Before each villain turn, except for the first turn, or if following a villain turn, okay, roll the Carnage die and check the result. So we do have, for I think the first time in Marvel United, a die. And it is a custom die. Very nice die, very big and chunky, as you can see, which is great. Always love a chunky die. So roll the Carnage die and check the results. So on a 0 to 5, you move Dark Carnage clockwise a number of locations shown on a die, then place one infection token below the leftmost not infected token. And if there are no thugs or civilians in that location, add a thug there with an infection token below it. Okay, so just clearing out the areas is not a way to manage this, although would definitely help. And then if you get the Carnage face, move Dark Carnage clockwise to the next location with any heroes, then place an infection token below the leftmost non-infected thug or civilian. And if there aren't any, deal 1 damage to one hero in each location with one or more infected tokens. Okay. And at the point when you flip this over, all remaining health tokens from challenge version plus as many health tokens as the number of infection tokens are in play. Wow. Okay. Special rules: when a hero is knocked out, they are eaten by Dark Carnage and removed from the game. Their hero turns are skipped, but the turn sequence doesn't change. Okay. Overflow. In the event of overflow and a token cannot be replaced, Dark Carnage gains 1 health, may go above his starting value. His villainous plot then is the heroes lose if they're all removed from the game. Carnage activation: each villain turn, instead of playing a master plan card, roll the Carnage die and check the result. So on a 0 to 5, move him to the location shown on a die, then deal 1 damage to each hero in Dark Carnage location and in both adjacent ones. And then if it shows the Carnage face, move him clockwise to the next location with any heroes, then deal 2 damage to each hero in Carnage location instead. Wow, okay. I don't think I've seen, again, something brand new, never seen, certainly that I've seen thus far, a flippable, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, villain board, dashboard. Wow, okay, very different. So let us have a look at Morbius next. So we have no special setup rules for Morbius. He is in his glory. I do like the cartoon rendering of Morbius. Really enjoyed him in the Amazing Spider-Man. That's what I was going to say earlier. I don't think I actually got there. I got distracted with old Leto's rendering of Morpheus, which I was less impressed with, I have to say. So 4, 5, 5 for the respective number of players. Special rules: when a hero is knocked out, before activating BAM, move Morbius clockwise to the next location with any heroes. Interesting. So usually that's the main thing that you'll see, of course, with the BAM, is they'll hit villains, often end up in a location that don't have any heroes there. So when they do activate their BAM and it is causing damage to heroes, there is null impact. So when he bams, do 1 damage and give 1 crisis token to one hero in Morbius location. Then if that hero has 2 or more crisis tokens, they take 1 extra damage. In the event of overflow, draw a master plan card and add it face down to the storyline and his villainous plot. The heroes lose immediately if they have 7 crisis tokens for 2 players, 8 for 3, 9 for 4. So that's what you're trying to control. Let's have a look at his deck then. So his, zoom in, his threat cards then. So we've certainly got, so I think these are in fact all the same. They're all the same. Okay. So pseudo vampires, BAM. If there are 2 or more thugs in this location, deal 1 damage and give 1 crisis token to one hero here. So that is what he's doing with his pseudo vampires, applicable to every location. Let's have a look. Oh my gosh, and they are all special cards. Okay, so let's start digging in. So moving to BAM, hunger. If there are any civilians in Morbius location, turn one of them into a thug and Morbius gains 1 health. Okay, So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hunger. Wow, okay. So a lot of hunger going on. And then move and bam, mesmer gaze. One hero in Morbius location reveals his hand. If they don't have a total of 2 or more heroic feats at the bottom of their cards, they must play their card randomly next turn. So mesmer gaze, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 of those. Wow, okay, like that. So very different again, means of playing against a villain. And then of course we can play him as a good guy. So let's have a look. We have the usual tranche of tokens, but not that much, the token cards. So then we're into the specials. So Power of Blood, you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to attack, and you get a move, an heroic feat. And this is the other way around, you get to place a card to the bottom of your deck to gain a heroic feat, but you get a move and attack. And then this one, you can place a card to the bottom of your deck to gain a move, you get a double attack. Then we have Hunger. So defeat 1 thug or discard a civilian in your location to draw a card. Okay. And we have again Hunger for each of the other icons. And then, love that graphic, mesmer gaze. Attach a stun token to a villain or henchman in your location. Next villain turn, that villain or henchman's bam is cancelled, and the stun is token is discarded. We've got 2 of those. Okay, so lots of specials for Morpheus. Sounds really intriguing, actually. So let's have a look. Really impressed actually with his figure. There we go. Like a bit of Morbius. Let me just clear a bit of space on the table so you can see through the green screen. There we go. You can appreciate the miniature a bit more. Oh, there we go. Zoom in. Very good. Okay. I do like that cape. So Morbius, Dr. Michael Morbius, Nobel Prize winning biochemist. Dr. Michael Morbius found a cure for his rare blood disease, transformed him into Morbius, a pseudo-vampire with superhuman powers. Morbius needs to drink blood to survive, but after his mind returns to normal, he becomes fraught with guilt. During Maximum Carnage, Morbius was recruited by Spider-Man and Venom to fight on the other side, or on their side. There we go. So that is Morbius. I do like that. Very good. So who should we do next? Let's go with Scream. Eradication. We have a space for 4 crisis tokens. Okay, and in fact, let's have a look at Scream's main villain dashboard first of all. Go. Okay. So special setup rules. So replace the clear threats mission with the eradication mission instead. Threat tokens are not used in this game. There we go. So that's what that's for. So that's our new mission. So 4, 6 and 7 health respectively. Special rules: when a henchman has 2 crisis tokens, on immediately discard them and place 1 crisis token on the eradication mission. Heroes cannot interact with crisis tokens placed on the henchman and on the eradication mission by any means. Interesting. Scream cannot be damaged until 2 missions are completed and the Venom henchman is also defeated. Bam! Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in Scream's location, then place 1 crisis token on a henchman in Scream's location if possible. Okay. In the event of overfoe, accelerate the next villain turn by 1 card, if not already accelerated. And villainous plot: the heroes lose if the eradication mission is complete. What? The heroes lose if the eradication mission is complete. Oh, very interesting. So Scream is actually trying to complete this one with those crisis tokens on the henchman, and at the point when this fills, we lose. Wow. Okay, again, very different. Really enjoying this. Really liking to see how these play out. Okay, let's have a look at the henchman in this one. So bam, Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in an adjacent location for Lasher. Lasher can't be cleared or defeated. Wow. Phage, bam. Deal 1 unpreventable damage to 1 hero in this location. Cannot be cleared or defeated. Agony. Deal 2 unpreventable damage to 2 heroes in this location. Cannot be defeated. Riot. 2 unpreventable damage to 1 hero in this location. Can't be defeated. And finally, Venom, who can be defeated, has 2 life per player. And deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. Venom can't receive crisis tokens. He can't be damaged until the villain becomes under pressure. So you've got to clear a mission, then you can clear Venom. Wow, okay. Sounds like a far more strategic game than usual. And then finally, we also have a landable triggering threat. Psychotic behavior. So when Scream lands here at the end of his villain term, play Mother Master Plan card. A hero in this location may prevent this effect by taking 1 damage. This threat cannot be cleared or removed play by any means. Okay. Wow. So let's have a look at the cards themselves. So we've got the usual move and bam and put out tokens. We have lots of these. They are all including the bam. Okay. Interesting. So then we have a special sonic knife. If there are no heroes in Scream's location, place 1 crisis token on a henchman there and then bam. Okay. And again with the sonic knife. Wow. It feels like a really different means of playing against a villain. Very interesting. Okay, let's have a look at the figure for Scream. Really love this. Check out the hair, dude. Loving that. So Scream, real name is Donna Diego. Donna Diego was a mercenary hired for the Life Foundation in order to fulfill her role as a superhuman officer for the corporation's future utopia. She was granted 1 of 5 symbiotes forcibly spawned from the Venom symbiote. After 2 attempts at trying to convince Venom to help her and her fellow symbiotes, Donna went mad and killed them. As a result, the other 4 symbiotes melded together, leaving her the only one left. And I wonder whether we'll see some of these aspects, of course, coming to bear in the latest Venom film. So could there be some sneaky peeks here of what is to come, what we might see on the silver screen? Time will tell, folks. Okay, so who is up next? We're going to have a look at Shriek. So Shriek's special setup. Set aside the Maximum Carnage Master Plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling it. At the last, at least 3 locations must have starting civilians. Okay. So life is 4, 5 and 6 respective number of heroes. Special rules: heroes may spend heroic feat in their location to flip 1 thug there, turn him into a civilian. So in the event of a bam in Shriek's and both adjacent locations, in each of these with no heroes, flip a civilian there. Okay, so it becomes a thug. In each of these with any heroes, do 1 damage to each of them and move them 1 location away from Shriek. Okay, so that's her power, is obviously pushing the heroes away. In the event of overflow, flip all civilians in that location. Wow, okay. And the villain spot, the heroes lose if at any time there are no civilians in play. Wow, okay, so I guess we're not completing the save all civilians mission for her. Okay, interesting. Let's have a look at her cards. So threats include Carnage. In the event of a bam, discard 1 civilian from the location and from each adjacent locations. Okay. Demogoblin. In the event of a bam, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in each adjacent location. Doppelganger, bam, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in this location. If there are no heroes here, discard a civilian here instead. We have Carrion, okay. Bam, each hero with any crisis tokens take 1 damage, then give 1 crisis token to each hero in this and both adjacent locations. We have Evasive Enemies. As long as this threat is in play, each henchman ignores 1 damage during each hero turn. Dark Riots then as a final one. As long as this thread is in play, Shriek ignores 1 damage in each hero turn if there are any thugs in her location. Wow. Okay. So we have the usual tranche of move and bam and chuck out lots of tokens. Her specials then include Darkest Family Assembly. If any henchmen have been defeated, randomly put 2 of them back in play. Wow, if possible. In locations with no threats, starting from Shriek's location, proceeding clockwise. Delay the next villain turn by 1 card for each henchman brought back this effect. Okay, so at least you get a bit of breathing space, but by gosh, right. So move 3 in Dark Empathy, flip 1 civilian in Shriek's and both adjacent locations. And we have another Dark Empathy, and then finally we have Maximum Carnage. Add 1 thug in Shriek's and both adjacent locations, most likely towards triggering the overflow, of course. So that is it for them. Let's have a look at her figure. Where's her figure? Is that her? That must be her. I feel somewhat underwhelmed rather, by her figure. Okay. Not quite sure. I feel like maybe she should have had some, fancy plastic around her, as we saw with so many of the others. Oh, I don't know why. Just feel a bit underwhelmed, really. But gameplay-wise, looks fab. Interesting. So, Shriek. Real name Francis Lewis Barrison. Shriek had a miserable childhood, becoming a groupie and a drug dealer on the other side, until Vigilante's cloak and dagger happened upon her. Because she was emotionally unstable, a short stay in Cloak's dark dimension pushed her into insanity. After that, she was captured and imprisoned in Ravencroft. When Carnage escaped from Ravencroft, he took Shriek with him. Whilst with Carnage, Shriek became even more unstable. Surprise! Eventually adopting Carnage as her husband, Karen and Demogoblin as children, and Doppelganger as a pet. Okay. During their attack on New York, she used her powers to make the whole city evil. So there we go. So that's Shriek. So certainly an incredible backstory. Looks like fantastic gameplay. Not quite sure what happened with the miniature. That's my take from that. But there you go. Hey, folks, we're here for the gameplay, right? Interesting decisions. Okay, let's have a look at Scorpion. So we have a special setup, and apologies because the green screen is going to absolutely kill this. So set aside Scorpion's suit enhancement master plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling. Okay. Respective lives are 5, 6 and 7 according to the number of players. Special rules: heroes starting their turn with any crisis tokens do not benefit from the symbols of the previous hero card in the storyline and discard all their crisis tokens. When a hero is knocked out, they take 1 KO token. Okay, in the event of a BAM, give 1 crisis token and deal 1 damage to the hero with the fewest crisis tokens in Scorpion's location. And in the event of overflow, put a random cleared threat back into play in the first clockwise location with no threats, if possible. Otherwise, 1 hero in any location takes 1 damage. The villainous plot is that the heroes lose when they have a total of 4 KO tokens between them. Okay. Let's have a look at his threats. So, civilians in danger. Scorpion cannot be damaged while in this location if there are any civilians here. Okay, so he's using them as hostages. And then criminal network. Scorpion can't be damaged if there are any thugs in this location. Okay, so transverse there. And let's have a look at his cards. So we have, again, as you would expect, the usual move and BAMs. So lots of those. Another move and a BAM, slightly different in terms of the movement. So then we get on to the specials, which are Scorpion Sting. Give 1 crisis token and deal 2 damage to the hero with the least crisis tokens in Scorpions or an adjacent location. Okay, and we have 2 of those, and then finally Scorpion Suit Enhancement, which is a card we were asked to remove. As long as this card is face up in a storyline when Scorpion bams, resolve his bam effect twice. Wow. Okay, when the Clear Threats mission is completed, turn this card face down. This card can't be turned over by any other means. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, he sounds particularly vicious. Talking of which, let's have a look at his miniature. Here's his stinger. So his real name is MacDonald Gargan. Former private investigator MacDonald Gargan was hired by J. Jonah Jameson to find out how Peter Parker was able to get incredible pictures of Spider-Man. Frustrated, Jameson decided to pay Gargan to be the subject of an animal mutation experiment. The experiment endowed the subject with the characteristics of another animal. Unfortunately, the process resulted in loss of Gargan's sanity and created a super-powered criminal menace known as Scorpion. There he is. I don't think I've seen that story actually portrayed either in the cartoons or in the live action films. I think it'd be good to see that portrayed. We've seen a couple of instances now with Rhino on a couple of occasions, so it may be good to see some of these Sinister Six characters getting their backstory, and maybe that's what we'll see with this new collaborative approach moving forward from the likes of Sony and Marvel. I think that would be really good, really interesting. It was great, I felt, to see Vulture's backstory being played out and how all that come about, and it kind of gives you that greater level of sympathy, like similar with Thanos. You know, that it was just I felt there was amazing sympathy, whilst also wanting to see Thanos defeated. There was a recognition of actually why is he doing this, what is driving him, and I think having those similar things in terms of the backstories, and I think they've all had them in some way, shape or form, and I think it's great to actually see that stuff being portrayed and brought to life in the animations and the big films. Anyway, I've dribbled on, apologies. You see how I get very easily caught up in the whole theme of this, and that is absolutely what excites me, and I love these characters, seeing them on the big screen. Love it. Love being able to then play them out and seeing those cinematic moments on the table. Fantastic. Anyway, apologies. Right. Demogoblin and Doppelganger special setup. Demogoblin and Doppelganger. My gosh, put those together fast. Okay, starts the game in the same location. Okay. Oh, they both got their own hits. Okay, so 3, 4, 4 for the respectives on a Demogoblin, and 5, 6, 6 for Doppelganger. And I loved seeing Doppelganger on the animations. Anyway, special rules. When its minion is discarded, place it on an empty slot in the Defeat Thugs mission. Okay, when a thug is discarded, place it on an empty slot in the Rescue Civilians mission. When all of the mission slots are filled, if half or more of the tokens of it do not match the respective mission, it is considered lost. Ooh! When a hero is knocked out, the villains don't activate their BAM. Instead, they remove the top card of the Master Plan deck from the game. When a villain is defeated, they remain in play and act as usual. The heroes only win if both of them are defeated. Ooh, so you've got to really balance how do you tackle and take on these villains. Love it. Deal 1 damage to each hero in the Demogoblins. So in the event of a BAM, deal 1 damage to each hero in Demogoblins and both adjacent locations. Then discard all civilians and thugs from Demogoblins location. Deal 1 damage to each hero in Doppelganger's location as well. Okay, in the event of overflow, place the closest token on an empty slot of the Clear Threats mission and remove the top card of the Master Plan deck from the game. The villainous plot is the heroes lose if 2 missions are lost. Wow. So you're really trying to control and dictate what is happening here with these guys. Okay, love it. Let's have a look then. So, threats include Dark Empathy. And I'm guessing it's when one or the other land here. Deal 1 damage among heroes in this location for each civilian and thug here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 Dark Empathy. And then we have magic anomalies, 3 of these as well. Heroes ending their turn in this location with 2 or more cards in hand must discard their hand. They aren't knocked out and draw back 1 less card. Ooh! So they effectively take a damage, but they also replenish their hand at the same time. Wow, very interesting. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, here we go. They do move differently. Oh, love it. Wow. Okay, so 1 move and 2 move and a bam, and then putting out. Do they both put out? No. So then Demogoblin puts out the respective. Okay, so it varies each time. So move 4, move 2, and then Doppelganger puts out civilians. Oh, I love it. Fantastic. Wow, just really keeping you on your toes in terms of what they're doing. And every time they bam, of course, they're both having that bam effect. Wow. And moving different amounts and putting out, depending on who it is, different amounts. Okay, so that's it. So it's all moving bam, but then they're putting out tokens differently. Wow. Very different. So let's have a look at each of these characters respectively. So first of all, Doppelganger. Love this figure. Oh, it just so reminds me of watching him in the cartoons. It was fantastic. So the Doppelganger began life as a living fractal, able to assume the forms and attributes of any being, real or abstract. Transformed into a monstrous version of Spider-Man by Magus, it was sent to Earth to fight in the Infinity War. Following the battle, the Doppelganger was found by Demogoblin in New York. It was attacked by the psychotic Carnage, who mistook the creature for their mutual enemy Spider-Man. However, Shriek took a liking to the Doppelganger and they adopted it as their son. Love it. I just love that pose. Big 8 limbs. Love it. And then, of course, Demogoblin. Fantastic. Loving that. So, which is flying on a phoenix. What is that about? So, real name Jason Macandale. Jason was down on his luck. He offered the demon Nastri his soul in exchange for power during the Inferno crisis. Nastur bonded a demon from the other place with Jason, giving him superhuman powers. He went on to fight Doctor Strange, Moon Knight and Spider-Man, but was defeated and put into prison. While incarcerated, Jason and the entity known as Demogoblin physically split apart. After some time, he was freed and joined a gang which included Carnage, Doppelganger, Shriek and Carrion. So there we go. So that is the Demogoblin. Loving that. That is fantastic. Excellent. Okay, so who did we not look at? We did not look at Carnage. So Carnage had his own special rules, but we didn't look at him. So I apologise for that. Let's get the Cletus figure and, of course, his backstory. So he was a serial killer who became Carnage after merging with the offspring of the Venom symbiote. The symbiote amplified his psychotic nature, making him a dangerous supervillain. After his alien symbiote was seemingly destroyed by sonic weapon, he was transferred to Ravencroft. The symbiote had merged with Cassidy's blood, and he released it by cutting his wrists from his handcuffs, allowing him to turn into Carnage. After slaughtering most of the Doctor's guards and inmates in his escape, he went on to recruit a family and attacked New York. Love that. And again, I think we did see certainly some of that aspect portrayed in Venom 2. I did enjoy that film. Okay, so what else did we get? We also then got each of these respective heroes and their individual cards. So let's have a look at what these look like. So weak spot. So spots can't be damaged until this is completed. So these are all the weak spots. So we've got various things that we need to complete for each of these before we are able to damage them and attack them. This is automatically cleared. If it is the last weak spot in play, it can't be cleared any other way. So for Chameleon, that's how you get rid of that weak spot. All the others are a mix of various tokens or actions that need to be allocated in order to make them vulnerable. There we go. Okay, so that is all of those, and you can see there's quite a number. So let's have a look at the Sinister cards themselves. So again, similar to what we saw with Doppelganger and the Demogoblin, the Sinister 6 cards that come, the new Sinister 6 cards that come, obviously they'll have a move, and bam, they'll have the order in which the particular villains interact, and then we'll have, depending on who it is, thugs and civilians being put out as well. So, and you'll see that the order of these, obviously you'll shuffle these up, but the order of these will rotate from turn to turn with various movement. What is this? Okay. Move, bam, combined mayhem. All so activate all undefeated villains. Start with Shriek and go clockwise on the board. Wow. Okay. So that is those, and then of course we have the Sinister 6 assembled special rules. Let's have a look at those. So Vulture, when he would take damage, if he has a civilian or a thug tokens, ignore any damage he would take this turn and move these tokens to his location. And for Shriek and Scorpion, if they end their movement in a location with no heroes, move them clockwise to the next location with any heroes. Okay. And again, similarly now we see the A through F, and depending on how you formulate and build that central board, that will determine which of these particular villains are there. So again, similar, combined mayhem or activate. Otherwise, these are all a series of move and bam and put out tokens, as we just saw with the other new Sinister 6. But obviously it will be varying as to which villains you use at any given turn. That is the new Sinister 6. I hope you have enjoyed that. I've found that to be thoroughly intriguing and interesting to see, yeah, the variety and how these will ultimately play out from game to game. That is pretty flipping outstanding. Love that. That's a bit of an odd gap to leave in a box. Not quite sure what that was. But there you go. We have that challenge card, of course. Oops. And we have our villains boards. Oops. And our locations. What is happening here? I'll put those on top, I guess. Hey, there we go. And plenty of cards to go on there. And that, folks, is Maximum Carnage. So I hope it's a lovely sound. I hope you have enjoyed that. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Very, very different again, seeing from the villains and how we're going to be interacting with these guys out on the board. Excited to venture into that. But otherwise, just to say, if you've liked this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more of my content, please hit that subscribe. It really does encourage me to keep producing this stuff. Otherwise, just to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you back at the table soon.